not necessarily not the news. I'm Military Mike, and this is my co-host, the Senate comedian Scott Machette. Scott,
what's going on, Military Mike? Ready? Whoosh. He loves wearing these things.
Today, July 26th. Dun, dun, dun. Today in the news. Before we get to the news, how's your week been?
It was great. I had both of my cars taken care of, and I'm happy I got my second one back in time.
When you mean taken care of?
Not like Italian taken care of, like in a positive way where mortality is concerned, Michael.
Okay, but
in a good way.
I have to admit, you're driving your mom's car today, right?
It's my grandmother's car, God bless her soul. It's the Wheezemobile.
The Wheezemobile.
That's right. I've got the Wheezemobile. And the first car is being taken care of. Luckily, it's covered under warranty. The second car, my reserve backup car, is the Wheezemobile. And the temperature gauge was, I know we might be, quote, on the right, but this temperature gauge was to the right of Genghis Khan, okay?
Absolutely.
It was hotter than mercury.
Now, do you think the hot weather's caused that? Because I don't know where you're viewing from, but in Georgia today, it was 8,000 degrees with 400 million % humidity.
It's not fun being a fat person in the summertime.
No.
Yeah, my drawers noticed that as well.
Yeah, I hydroplaned right off the seat into the tub earlier today.
Ain't it funky now?
Yeah, I get a little...
You ever sat on your own nutsack in a movie theater?
Well, speaking of the
Speaking of our producer, Chris Lowry from the Brushfire Mind.
Well, yes, mention Mr. Lowry. I yield to the gentleman. I was
making reference to sitting on his own, testicles.
It happens.
It does not
Enough
happen.
about my 20 years.
Wait till you get older.
I want to give a special shout out to my little Saudi prince, Hussein, who is probably watching us from the Jubal industrial city of the eastern Gulf of Arabia, and we think it's hot here. It's 130 degrees out there. Hello, Hassan.
Been in those temperatures, and it's not fun.
But it's not 1,000% humidity.
130 degrees, you could fry an egg on your car.
I was, I think the hottest place I've ever been was Ali Al Salim, Kuwait.
Hey, no bad language. No, it's a family show. No bad language.
It was 100 degrees. The guy told us we got in about 2 a.m. And the guy said, if you're going to do anything like a shower or food, do it now.
Well,
we looked at each other and we said, why? And he goes, because it's going to be 130 degrees today. So at 11 o'clock, guess what I did?
You let a man tell you when to shower?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
I like a man to tell me when to shower, when to get out of the shower.
Okay. Well,
kind of like Batman. Alfred!
He reminded you to wear your shower shoes for the jellyfish.
So at 11 a.m., I said, I'm going outside. Buddy, 130 degrees will change your mind about everything. Yeah. My uniform got brittle.
Sand at Ali Al Salim will
it's like when you're walking. Yeah, but let me tell you something. It was so hot that your uniform gets brittle, feeling like it's crunchy. Yep. Pretty freaking weird.
Wow, so this is when you were in Kuwait?
This is when I was in Kuwait. Okay. And I was never stationed in Kuwait.
You were there for leave?
I was there for to go on leave. There we go. To go on leave, you used to have to go through Ali Al Salim.
Okay.
And what it is, like a processing type thing. You go in and you turn in all your gear. Like when you're coming out of a combat zone, you got to turn in all your combat gear. All right, like your body armor.
Could you get liberty to Dubai for 48
hours?
CIF.
Could you get liberty on Dubai for a couple days?
I think when you're on leave, you can pretty much go anywhere you want.
Okay.
All right. So from there, I hopped a flight from there. I think I went to Shannon, Ireland.
Oh, nice.
And then from Shannon, Ireland, I went to Atlanta.
Okay.
And then a buddy of mine that was traveling with me, he went on from Atlanta. He bounced all the way over to the West Coast and then off to Hawaii.
Nice.
So but it takes, when you go on 2 weeks leave, when you're like in Afghanistan, it takes about a month.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're in Ali Al Salim for a couple of days. You got to travel from wherever you're at. I went from Kabul to Bagram to Ali Al Salim, I think, to Shannon, Ireland, Shannon to Atlanta. And
well, why would you want to leave Ireland, lad, if you're already in Northern Ireland?
Here's the thing. Apparently, four-leaf clovers grow everywhere.
I don't know what you're saying, laddie. Why would you leave the Irish Republic? I don't understand. Why would you leave it?
I know I was in Bucharest, Romania one time. That was interesting.
Is that something we talk about on the air, or is that more of an after midnight material?
Did I just delete my own story? I think I did.
Well.
Was this your story?
Yes.
Okay, well, then it looks like your story's going first. I think I accidentally just pinked off my first story about Joe Biden. I can talk about it because it's really simple. Joe Biden, our president houseplant. Maybe you've seen him. He caught COVID. He contracted COVID. So 2 funny things I'd like to say. One is if my dog got vaccinated 4 times for rabies and then got rabies, I'd be upset. 2, I think the dude just wanted a 4-day weekend.
I mean, I don't have any sympathy for him, but can you blame him? Like,
He
the media
looked-
is starting to ask questions after all this time.
Looked, and believe it or not, I think he said, I don't care what y'all tell him. You can tell him I got COVID.
He just said, I
but
don't
I'm
give a-"
taking a 4-day
Yeah.
weekend. Because they showed a picture of him sitting at the house with his dog,
Yeah.
with a dog. I didn't know he
It
had a
just
German
looks
Shepherd.
sad.
And the dog got more comments than the president did.
Yeah, it just
It was
looks
like,
sad.
oh, wow, the dog looks cool. Who's the old guy?
Like you
So-
said, Mike, hasn't he been vaccinated 4 times and 2 boosters?
Yeah, and they're talking about another one.
And just last week, yes, Jessica Rabbit, I'm thinking of you. Just last week, your favorite, quote, leader, Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada, came down with COVID again, and he had been quadruple vaccinated, 2 boosters. What is going on?
So here's the thing. Have you heard the latest stats on how many Americans have been vaccinated? Completely, not just the one
Right,
vaccination.
they got the whole 4?
Yeah,
I had 2, and I'm out.
it
And
is
so
very
that's
low.
it.
It's below 20%. It was up, I think, 36 or 39% for the first one, but then now it's dropped below 20%.
Because they're seeing that people getting it keep getting vaccinated.
And you know, the catch-all
getting
here is
COVID.
that if you've had your booster shot, then COVID, which now the new variant is
Right,
called
the Omicron
B5.
and the-
No, you had
They got the Jackson 5?
Omicron was cool. I wanted an Omicron, like a Decepticon.
Oh,
I
geez.
wanted an Omicron because that would just be cool.
More than
I
you
had.
see,
I wanted one that called "Don't piss on my leg" and call it raining Acron.
That's the Irish metaphor.
Yeah. All right. So now this one's called B5.
What's like a vitamin?
I guess. That's so lame.
No, it's a mail-in ballot designator.
Oh, of course. Which facility? Oh, but we can't talk about that. So moving on to our story.
We can put serial numbers on dollar bills, but we can't put serial numbers on ballots. Okay.
That's a shout out to my Saudi prince in Jubal Industrial City. A special hi to Jessica Rabbit in Maryland, and a happy birthday to my best friend Omar.
And I've been hitting the table this week.
Well, that's
Have you
all
noticed
right.
it?
It's
You're
more
not hitting the
interactive.
table now. I'm hitting the table.
Because you told me not to.
I know. Well, I'm also about 3 Mike's Hard Lemonades into the wind, so you're going to get what you're going to get.
You see what he tells his women after midnight.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
that's what she said. I've been watching reruns of The Office, so you might get a couple of those.
Your emotional
That's what she
sensitivity notwithstanding, we've got an exciting story coming up. And Mr. Producer's reaching for his cup.
said. He's going to bring us back. Let's see if is he going to put us at the corner of
Wait,
the.
are we back
We're,
in the
we're
corner?
not. Yeah, we're not in the corner anymore. Are we still on the screen? It doesn't matter.
You're good.
We're good. We just can't see us on the screen.
Well, we know that we're
Yeah,
here.
look, see, here we are over here.
that's wonderful,
We
Mike.
got a lot of monitors and the technology and stuff.
It's like the Truman Show, only more exciting emotionally.
Absolutely.
Okay, so should
Plus,
we take
he's
it away
a
on this
He
story?
was a horrible actor.
Move this down a little bit so they can see the picture.
Absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to be
I
polite.
wouldn't presume to tell him what to do, but I can say,
Crap. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, squad
Over-
members
yep.
pretend to be handcuffed.
Quad. Okay, do you want
That's fine right there.
that
That's
right there?
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So the gist of it is, and just to be fair, because we're all about honesty, and I could be wrong on things. I don't pretend that I know everything. It is possible that she was not, but it sure as heck looks like, put it this way, some of us have been in handcuffs before. Some of our viewers have put people in handcuffs, and some of us have been in handcuffs and also put people in handcuffs. But the one thing, everyone raise their hand.
All of the above.
But the one thing I think
Got a chubby.
well, leave your private life out of this. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, but that's not where we're going with the story. But so, the one thing I think everyone can agree on is you would not stay in this position with your hands behind your back for a prolonged period of time unless you're, like having some kind of kinky game. Otherwise, nobody would do that on purpose.
And now
she-
look, I gotta include this part.
Oh, yeah.
She said that she wasn't doing that.
Right.
She said that that's the least conflict pose that she could take.
Right, so I'm just saying, to be fair, maybe she wasn't.
Right. But they were all doing it when they're facing the camera.
And ABC News runs the picture saying, oh, she's put in handcuffs, she's oppressed. That's the story they want to fit the narrative.
So she was asked, I don't know if you know this, but she was asked if you were doing this to be non-confrontational.
Right.
All right. Then why, when she got past the cameras, did you go?
Did you stop doing it?
She raised her hand.
Right,
and
right.
did
And
the
she went like
fist.
this.
Yeah. So.
And then she put her hand back
Right.
behind her back.
Yeah.
Right.
So
She absolutely 100% was pretending to be handcuffed.
Right.
I have
As soon as the
no
cameras,
doubt in my mind.
and then, yeah.
All right. So.
Well, that's an exciting story. I
now,
thank you for your attention.
And this came up in a pre-show discussion.
We had a
which-
pre-show discussion.
We did have a pre-show
Oh,
discussion.
okay. That must have been
She's getting
set up
ragged
for this.
on
Right.
by media on both sides of the aisle about not being present for stuff. So how many days a year does somebody in the lower house, how many days a year do they actually like have to be there?
So 18 of my 20 years were in the Senate, but pretty much we're not in session very often, maybe a third of the time, a third to half of all the days. And you're saying she's not even there a third of the time when they're in session, she's not.
Right. Okay, so maybe 100
Sounds like
days.
she's qualified to get reelected.
Why do I think it's 100 days or something like that they're actually in session? I realize that they have other obligations.
Depends. Whenever there's a crisis or they have to grandstand or
Right.
there's like when the Russia invaded, Ukraine or
Yeah,
God
they
knows what's going to
spent-
happen with Taiwan, then they have to go back in session so it appears that they're there.
working.
Yeah. No, but it is important in a sense. No
Yeah,
matter
well,
what
they
side
got to have
people
that
are on.
show. Our government's at
Like after 9/11, we had to go right back there.
Right.
And that's how they got stuck with
Okay,
me.
so she's required to be there a third of the time.
Correct.
And then she's not there. I don't know. I don't know what they're exactly complaining about. I know I'm a great journalist, right? But here's the thing: is I watch the news. I think I've said this every week of the show. I watch probably 2 hours of news every day, and I haven't
thought
seen.
I was a dork.
I haven't
Oh my
seen the
goodness.
story. I just see the ticker going along the bottom.
Essentially,
Saying
she's
that-
got a truant rating of a juvenile delinquent that never shows up for class.
I don't. How do people like this get reelected?
Well,
I mean,
we
is
don't
it
have
just?
enough time to get into that.
That's a whole different show.
That's a
Different show.
Part of it is selling a narrative. Part of it is media manipulation. And to be honest, some of my friends knew her. She does have a likable personality. I'm just saying,
I've actually heard that before too.
one of my
that
friends
she is a
had
likable person when
crush on
she's
her,
not
another one of my
discussing.
friends- Yeah.
Hey, look, that little dancing thing she was doing when she first got in office. She had a little tight
I had a chance-
jersey shirt on.
I had a
Yeah,
chance to meet her
man.
once when I was still a member of the DNC,
And-
yeah. And I didn't because I'm not there to piss people off. I would have asked her a joke about, if she could accept a free market economy, then we could go out. But if she can't accept a free market economy,
And our boy was there talking about her juicy butt.
oh my goodness.
That
So
was
next
great.
to
That
her
was
juicy
great.
buns. That's why my friend wanted to meet her.
Well, she was walking up the steps. and he
Saba,
was
if you're
right outside.
listening, I know you wanted to meet AOC because you like that booty. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yep. And she's always wearing those white tight skirts, those little pants. Okay,
So,
yeah.
so we can
the next
appreciate
story that we
AOC
have
from a
is
purely
that-
intellectual perspective.
Yeah, so this is a trip. Look at that commercial, man.
Oh, my
That is
goodness.
a nice razor. Why would you shave off your beard, dude? All right, so no, a Florida killer clown
You want to look
trial
clean? I don't know.
delayed again for a sixth time.
Why is that beard
Yeah,
on
I
the
don't
show?
know, but
What is
it's-
going on with
It's a
that?
commercial, but it's really cool, man. Hopefully our viewers can't see
Maybe
it.
it'll inspire you
Yeah.
to be motivated.
What? No,
No,
my
you
beard
look
is
great the way
clean.
you are.
My
Just
God.
teasing you.
Now I'm self-conscious about that and my
Oh,
skin tags.
no, not the skin. Oh my God, no, not the skin.
All right, so here's the confusing part of this story. All right, the headline. Florida killer clown trial delayed again for a sixth time. Now, I want you guys to follow me. Sheila Keene Warren of Florida has been accused of dressing as a clown and fatally shooting the wife of her future husband over 30 years ago. All right, keep up. Keep up, boys and girls.
I'm listening.
This is crazy.
That's a lot of words that are loosely related to one another.
Right.
They
okay.
said I was loquacious.
So, loquacious.
Oh, my goodness.
Down a quick trip.
That's
All right,
for you, Julie.
West Palm Beach, a Florida judge has reluctantly delayed the trial of a woman accused of dressing like a clown and fatally shooting her lover's wife. Wouldn't she be her lover's wife? Of more than 30 years ago, after defense attorneys said they're having a hard time contacting witnesses. Now, what you have to understand is this is from May 1990.
Hey, they're going back 30 years.
30 years.
32.
Actually, 32 years. And this
I,
woman still hasn't been to trial. I wonder if she's sitting in jail. You think she's been sitting in jail this whole time?
Honestly, I could barely keep up with my private
Probably
life.
not.
I can't even understand this. But it's
I am so confused. When I read the
32
story.
years later. I mean, it's sketchy with the
okay,
clown
so
thing.
the story is that Marlene Warren opened up the door and was shot in the face by a clown delivering carnations and balloons to her home in Wellington, a suburb of West Palm Beach.
Like Joey Buttafuoco with the...
Yeah.
okay.
So it's like a little love triangle, but one of them's a clown. So maybe it's doink. All right, so
Welcome to Congress.
I'm just
We're here
I'm
to
just
raise
gonna
your
read-
taxes. Give me your money. Give me your money.
The former Sheila Keene, rumored to be having an affair with Marlene Warren's husband, Michael Warren. It's always got to be a
Kill a
Michael.
bug
in there.
live on
I know.
the
What
stage.
is the deal with the bugs in the studio today?
Sarah, if you're watching, sorry, but that bug had to die.
So 2 nights before the killing, A woman shows up at a costume store telling clerks who urgently needs this? Urgently needs a clown suit, an orange wig, white gloves, and a red nose, and enough white makeup to cover her face completely. One of the clerks identified her in a photo lineup. Now, the question is, was she in makeup in the lineup?
Mr. Producer,
Because I would pay money to see that.
Mr. Producer, did you have some memorable moments of nostalgia with the Insane Clown Posse, hypothetically speaking, of course?
Oh, I don't believe I would share Insane Clown Posse lyrics live on
Okay,
on
very
air.
nice. Well, the gentleman
Plus,
is recognized.
Plus,
That's dangerous.
Have you heard him sing?
I just thought the gentleman had some intriguing experiences pertinent to the clown situation.
Let's intrigue onto this next story.
Oh,
What
hey,
do you
look at
think?
that. Next story.
That was a segue, wasn't it?
Very good. Well done, sir. Well done.
You really like these kind of stories, don't you?
I do. Have you noticed?
I do.
Local lawmakers introduced legislation to remove property lease name from Arlington House. So if we scroll down a little
Absolutely.
bit further.
I just wanted to show a picture of that beautiful
Oh, yeah.
home, the Arlington home.
So a little bit, get to the part about Senator Kane.
Oh, that
Okay,
was,
right, that's not
yeah.
perfect.
Mike, hold on just a second. I'm gonna do a little something.
Okay, a little something, something.
What you got?
Ooh, he's moving it. The director, the producer's moving it.
Well, the producer takes
Look,
control.
I can move the mouse hands-free.
All right, leave me there on the quote from Senator Kane. I want to mention this story. All right, Mr. Producer, we good to go?
I'm going to secretly reach back here and cover up my drink.
All right.
There we go.
Mike's Hard Lemonade, brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade.
All right, so we have to
There.
move that so I can get the quote there, guys. Just a little bit.
Just down a little bit, right?
Come on, there you go. Boom. Okay. So, General Lee is not what many people have been told. We've had at least 2 or 3 generations now that have been intentionally, ignorantly indoctrinated. The reason why I brought this story up specifically, I'm going to read you this quote from Senator Kane, Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia. Quote,
Democrat.
Yes. If we're serious about ending racial disparities, we need to stop honoring those who fought to protect slavery. So I have had many conversations with a distinguished senator from Virginia through the years, specifically about this issue in Civil War history in general, and Robert E. Lee specifically. And that man knows that I have more interest in weight loss than Robert E. Lee had in promoting slavery. Robert E. Lee not only was against slavery, but he freed everyone that he could the very first day that he was legally allowed with the authority to do so, which was January 2nd, 1863. I have a copy of the manumission court papers from the State Superior Court of Virginia. This is something that I know probably better than anything. And Senator Kane knows that that is not what General Lee was about. So for him to grandstand on this issue is... well,
Now,
it
do you
just
think
shows
he's
us
just
who he
doing
is.
it because of the
Defeat
culture?
the narrative.
Yeah, the culture that's currently going on.
Because the reason why I privately engaged him in this subject, when now Senator Kane was governor of Virginia, he got rid of Confederate History Month, which might sound now like, well, of course you get rid of it. But see, 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't tarred and feathered with that stain of intolerance and hatred and racism and all the terrible things that people associate now. So I privately, respectfully took him to task because I said, isn't that going to vilify the discourse? Isn't that going to poison the well for people to actually understand history? People are going to think Robert E. Lee was something that he wasn't.
I'm not sure that the left of center really wants to teach history anymore. They want to teach their version of history.
But that's
which
why
I imagine
I'm-
the right says they want to teach their version of
I'm
history.
kind of calling out Senator Kane specifically because he acknowledged to me what a great man that General Lee was. And furthermore, Senator Kane knows that Robert E. Lee saved this country on at least 2 separate occasions. First, when he spared the civilian population of Pennsylvania in his second northern invasion in 1863, he spared the entire population of sinners. And if he had not done that, it's a lot harder for Lincoln to get reelected in 64 if the civilians had felt the pain of the war, which is exactly what Lincoln and Grant did to the South. There were exact words, a year later, there were exact words from Lincoln and Grant and Sherman where we will take the pain of this war to the civilian population. Cool. The other thing about General Lee that Senator Kane knows, which is not reflected at all in this grandstanding press conference, General Lee gave his word at Appomattox that the South would surrender. The only time in his life for a lifelong military man to be insubordinate to his commander-in-chief is, I've got to ask you guys, it's got to be a very hard thing to do, to be insubordinate to a direct order. His whole life, General Lee would have been unthinkable to be insubordinate. He was insubordinate to his commander-in-chief because he was ordered to not surrender. And when he surrendered to Appomattox, he kept his word. And by doing that, he helped lead the example, or we'd be like Bosnia today. So General Lee deserves praise, not grandstanding ridicule. And it's one thing if somebody doesn't know, but for Senator Kane, what he knows and what he's saying are totally different. I yield to the gentleman.
Have you ever heard how many post offices that they change the name of annually? This,
All the
to
time.
me, this seems like this is like exploiting taxpayer dollars. You see what I'm
When
saying?
they
It's kinda
change the
like,
post office, it's
yeah.
for a contributor to give somebody a
Yeah,
massage, a little thank you.
Does our government really need to be
Well,
meeting about this stuff?
That's exactly the point, right? That's
Yeah,
exactly the thing
do
right
we
there.
need to waste all those people's
Every
time?
American taxpayer should be furious.
Right.
Every time
This is
somebody says
nonsense.
change the name of XYZ, because they're spending taxpayer money to do that.
Right.
And what they're doing when they're changing the name of something is nothing. They're
So this is
setting-
going from the
well, not only
Arlington
does it
just
House,
setting your money
Robert
on
E. Lee
fire.
Memorial
See,
to the Arlington.
What upsets my
Is that really
conservative
gonna change anything?
friends is that they wasted money. What upsets me is the annihilation of history to fit a super woke racial division
Well,
narrative.
I think if we go back in
Intentionally-
history and look at some
Yeah.
of the socialist,
Yes.
communist,
Yes.
they tried to.
German mouse cultural evolution.
Yeah, they try to control the history.
Yeah.
Look,
It does
history is
waste
history,
money
whether
to
it's
do it
good,
too.
bad, or indifferent.
But the
It is
annihilation of history to serve a super woke agenda, if we don't destroy political correctness, it's going to destroy us. Stevie Wonder could see that.
Outstanding, and he can play the piano. Did y'all know that George Washington was a traitor?
Man, I didn't know.
He was a traitor. I
had no
now,
idea.
What about the other guy?
Jefferson?
No, the other guy.
Jimi Hendrix.
No, stop.
Jim Morrison.
Dang it, man. The Doors. Great,
Yes.
great band. Hey,
Well,
by the
that
way,
gets to my story number 5. But go ahead.
by the way, Mick
Jim Morrison
Jagger's
comes up.
birthday.
Really?
Yeah, he's like 80
Oh, that's awesome.
or 79 or
He's
something
still
like that.
alive.
Mick Jagger, yeah. Oh yeah, he's still alive. They're pumping him full of formaldehyde.
He's properly pickled.
Yeah,
not
he's
going nowhere.
he's doing a concert right now.
Oh, by the way, guess who's
I
turning?
think he's 80. I think he's 80 years old.
Guess who has a birthday tomorrow?
You?
Yes.
Is tomorrow your birthday?
Yes, it
Happy
is.
birthday to you. Happy
Thank you.
birthday to you.
But back to Mick Jagger.
Okay.
Bring it
Now,
away.
I was trying to. What is it? The guy that was the super trader that got during the.
Nathan Hale?
No, Nathan Hale wasn't a trader. He
Wait a
gave
minute.
but one life.
That's the guy that died for us.
yeah.
Who's
No.
the Benedict Arnold?
Benedict
Yes,
Arnold!
we did
Damn it!
Oh my
See
God.
that?
Benedict Arnold.
Two minds are the equivalent of one. All right, so yeah, he was
It's
a trader.
so funny that I
He was
said
a-
Nathan
he was
Hale.
a
I love
tra-
history. I get the name
He
wrong.
was a trader to a trader. Does that make him an enemy of my enemy as my friend?
Well, I could
That makes
plagiarize.
him British.
If I could
Damn redcoats.
if I could plagiarize Special Ed in 1989 in the hit song "I Got It Made," I'm not a trader, but if what you got is greater, I'll trade. But maybe later, because my waiter made potato alligator souffle. Then it, I got it made. Then it, I yield to the gentleman. I love that song.
Okay, that was horrible.
It started with trader. I'm just saying. I love the song.
That was bad.
All right, back to Nathan
Whatever
Hale.
we do,
He was the good guy.
No more singing on
Benedict
this
Arnold,
show.
but that was
ever.
rapping. It was not singing.
That was, you're right. There.
Control
It was
your
not-
enthusiasm,
yeah,
Michael.
that was horrible. All right, the next story we have is Texas. We got to keep this thing moving. Texas meteorologist warning of blackouts.
Never had a man say that before.
It gets quick. It gets real
Whoa.
way too quick. The reason why I picked this story is, and of course we're not going to show the video because it's stupid. So I am not a big proponent or advocate of
Weight
electric
loss?
cars.
Oh, no, electric cars.
Did you just say weight loss? Because now I'm going to talk about skin tags. I swear to God, the next 15 minutes.
No, please.
I'm going to
please.
talk. Look,
No, my God, Mike.
look.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, no,
Sorry.
I'm not a big advocate for electric cars. I find more wrong with electric cars than I do right. Okay?
I want to disagree with you, but so far the evidence is on your side.
So, yeah. All right. So okay, and I don't know if I got caught in a storm a couple years ago. I don't know if you guys remember the snowstorm, snow apocalypse, or a snowmageddon, the mother of all storms, whatever. I worked on
I had
South
to buy a
Cobb.
new minivan because of that story.
I worked on South Cobb, and I had to get home to Loganville, which generally takes an hour. It took me 27 hours to get home that day because the snow. The roads looked like the highway coming out of Kuwait. There was cars everywhere. I literally slept in my car right by Stone Mountain for a couple of hours. It was really bad.
My best friend was stuck on 395 for 25 hours.
So yeah,
And even though I think I'm on the right side, I got to make a little fun of him because he is diehard Republican, and he thinks if you use the metro, it makes you a communist. And I said, look, just this one time.
He's right.
Well, okay, I yield to Mr. Producer. That's what he would say. A shout out to Omar. But so, anyways, I told him, look, it's a 2-foot storm coming. Okay, it's just one time only. You got to use the metro. I don't take the metro. I'm not a damn comedy. Well, guess who was stuck for 25 hours on 395?
What was really cool was all during the night, I'm posting on Facebook. Oh, I'm sitting out here. I just started a fire outside my car. I was helping people.
Did you have marshmallows?
I had a woman come up to me crying because her phone didn't work, and I said, "Do you have a charger?"
At least
She
she
goes,
wasn't
"Yeah."
crying 'cause you
I said,
didn't
"Is your car dead?" She said, "No." I just looked at her, gave her that 10 to 15 degree head tilt. Start your car and charge your phone. She was like, yeah.
She didn't realize you could do
panic.
that?
Yeah. So I started a little fire, and there was half a dozen of us standing around. And then I went and cranked my car, turned on the heater, and slept for a little while.
Did you have marshmallows?
But the whole time I was posting on Facebook, and people that live around Stone Mountain were going, "We're going to come out. We're going to come out to your little fire on 78." So
Wait, that's good. You turn into a party.
Right. Okay,
I like
but
it.
I don't think I want to do that every time I get stuck in my electric car because look,
True.
I don't know that this is going to work on if there's a and look, I'm not giving any ideas to any of the bad guys, but look, any bad guy worth their weight in gold is going to attack the power grid. That'd be the first thing I would take out.
Should I do the unthinkable and say on our next show we could have a word from the other green perspective?
Look, I'm
it
just
fair?
telling you right now, if I was a bad guy, the first thing I would go at
The power grid.
is the power grid, and I would block off all first responders by starting fires or creating chaos in between where I wanted it to go.
Serious question. Why hasn't
And-
Putin done that already?
Why haven't they done
Why
it?
hasn't Putin done that? Serious question.
Well, I think Z or whatever already did last summer when he freaking attacked the gas line.
Right, but now that we're doing all these things on him, from
Well,
his
I mean,
perspective,
look, I think
would he knock
that
out
I
our
think
power
it's
grid?
probably being protected.
Okay.
So it's going to have to be a culmination. But here's the thing: you knock out the power grid, you put our country back in the Stone Age.
Right.
ATMs don't work.
Wouldn't
okay.
our enemies do that?
Gas
Russia,
doesn't pump.
China.
Air conditioning, heating, depending on the season you do it in. And if you create a diversion by the form of a fire or an explosion in between the first responders and where the city center is, you just theoretically block them from coming in.
If there's no air conditioning, what would happen to fat people if there's no air conditioning?
Exactly. So,
Oh my God.
taking that all into consideration, if the infrastructure, and I'm talking about first responders, if those vehicles go electric, I just am not too happy with that. Now,
I
look
think
at the thing that happened in Texas. Remember the snowstorm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it was like 3 days, 4 days
It
without
knocked out
power.
yes, sir.
Okay, is there emergency charging things you carry for your Tesla?
People like you guys that know what you're doing have these generator thingies that they carry
Yeah, we'll
around.
bring a diesel generator out.
Out to crank my
And
or to
charge-
charge my
and charge
electric
your
car.
electric
But it
car.
started to use more power to charge a thing. The charge can't go more than
Yeah.
150 miles.
And I know, like, I was watching Al Jazeera and the guy was talking about wind, how wind and solar don't burn anything. Okay, but it's like, wow, have you been seeing what's happening to the wind situation? As far as the big turbines burning and crashing and
Hey, when they
needing
catch on
lubricants
fire,
and needing to be started by generators and stuff like that. Look, Michael Gross says electric cars are fine until the first person gets electrocuted
Oh,
in a
wow.
rainstorm. Makes good sense.
Blackouts
You're
matter.
talking about EMP. No, Mike, I'm not actually talking about EMP. EMP, if for anybody watching, is an electromagnetic pulse that is generated
Oh.
from a nuclear weapon.
Right.
All right. Now there are different ways
Or
of
sunspots.
Yep, or sunspots, which is tremendous. But an EMP generally, there was in the military, they told us turn off all electric devices. Come to find out, even if the device is turned off, it can still get damage from EMP. Now, does EMP need to be one of these huge missiles that gets launched out of a sub? No. A tactical nuke, basically 5 kiloton or smaller, can be carried in a backpack called a dirty bomb and can be detonated, well, just about anywhere. And EMP would fry. So I don't want to get into
When you keep
the doom
saying
and gloom.
EMP, I think about a guy in a uniform showing up
Yeah.
in an ambulance saying, "Hey, you guys okay? Are you guys
No, but
alive in there?"
I'm
But
concerned
that's
that
EMT.
they want first responders, and our government is pushing so hard to have a non-fossil fuel,
Right.
contingency that they're going to. What do they really have control over? Well, here's what I would think they were going to do. They're going to say, look, your communities, your municipalities, your counties, all that other stuff. You're going to go to electric, or We're going to
else.
shut down the financial.
They're saying electric or else, basically.
Right. And
Coercion
then
is not the
we
way
do
to win
that,
people over.
and then we're going to slowly but surely see a decline in the services provided by first responders.
you force people to do it.
And guess what?
Yeah.
That's not going to be funny.
You're
because
right.
currently, with the open borders,
You're right.
our infrastructure for medical and first responding
already
type thing
overwhelmed
is
to begin with.
already overwhelmed.
No,
So
you're right.
it's kind of like a thing. Get back to the story. The Texas meteorologist proved a point. While discussing the scorching temperatures, even after a power outage left him in the dark.
Right after he's like spoke. Some of my
He was talking.
some of my stoner friends would say he spoke it into existence.
Yeah,
man.
so
you
he's-
said
he's-
it, and there it was.
He's talking about all this, and then poop, a blackout happened in the studio he was working at, and they still are trying to push this electric thing. Now look, I like
I'm afraid
Elon
I
Musk.
agree with you.
I like
I'm
Elon
afraid I
Musk.
agree with you.
I like Musk. I know he's God. Did you see him without his shirt on
Well,
at the
it's-
beach? Not a pretty sight. But here's the thing: I don't generally base my likes or dislikes on what you look like without a shirt on.
Well, I'm in luck there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've seen you naked.
Wait a minute. That's
so-
not this kind of party here. What is?
But it's
going on?
true, right?
Oh my
Tell
God.
me it's true. Tell me
Not
it's true.
the way you make
Say,
it sound.
You were naked. I saw you.
But
That's
why
all
are
I
you
stated.
looking? You silly rabbit.
I was looking
It's not
because
the
I
way
was
you
like,
make it sound. Oh
yeah,
my
it's
goodness.
not like we're dating or nothing.
No, you were just checking
was
me
just-
out.
we were in a
Oh my
hotel room.
goodness. I can't
See,
believe
that
it.
doesn't make-
You were just
doesn't make it sound
Oh
any
my
better.
goodness.
It doesn't make it
gracious.
sound any better.
Now
We're
I
in a
know why he
hotel room.
wanted me on, not necessarily
Yeah.
not to do.
And I saw him. He was naked.
Oh my God.
All right,
So,
so-
well, we're going to have, just for that, Mike, I'm going to get my revenge on you. We're going to have an environmentalist on this show at some point, even if it's just for 3 minutes, just to show the other side of the coin.
Yeah, I don't.
Just
Look,
to
there's a
make it
big
interesting.
push going on about plant-based food.
I agree
Have you ever
with
had
you.
plant-based food?
No,
Look,
vegans,
folks,
put some
it
steak sauce on a vegan,
sucks.
have them for dinner.
Oh my God, eat a plant-based Burger King and not be shitting like a goose for a day. I dare you. They do not taste like real meat.
And that ain't complicated.
It does not taste like real
Right,
meat. It does-
Salad is what food eats.
Yeah. Oh my, it's this simple, right? Remember your dinosaurs. Brontosaurus and T-Rex.
Yeah.
And who was always devoured? Brontosaurus, the herbivore, was always on the menu for T-Rex, the carnivore. Even I know that, and I'm a dork that actually cares about
Look,
fuel efficiency.
that stuff does not taste good.
Yeah.
It does not.
But
taste
before we go to the next story,
plant-based
would it make
meat.
sense hypothetically to have an environmentalist on for a couple minutes, as long as he's funny, if you agree, just to make it fun, because we're all agreeing with each other.
Just so
you know?
everybody knows, whenever you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it and recorded, anything else like that, if you would like to be on the show and basically discuss or rebuttal this in a funny manner and
Yeah.
respectful, please just let me know, and we'll definitely schedule you.
Because I agree with everything you're saying, and sometimes it's more fun if we have dissent.
You know what the big thing is about electric cars? I'll just tell you. Everybody's doing this. No, they're saying the cost
Rosenbergs.
they're saying the cost of the battery to replace the battery.
Is more than the car.
Okay, so look, that's a thing, but in Facebook, I got a little tit for tat going on there with a bunch of people because I commented about charging stations.
Yeah.
I don't have to try to plan my trip around gas stations. I see a gas station, I got less than a quarter of a tank, I got to pee, I stop. But when you have an electric car, you have to go from charging station to charging station. Plus, if you're doing the fast charge, it's expensive.
No, you're right.
If you're doing the slow charge, then you're going to be sitting there. There's a reason why there's a Netflix app on your Tesla on the screen
No, you're right.
for you to watch a movie while it's being charged.
Okay.
But isn't that going to make your trip kind of
No,
chunky,
you're right. You
you
can't
know?
do anything. If you have to 100 miles, you're done. 100 miles, you're done. I agree.
Yeah.
But do we have a couple more stories before the show's
Yes,
over?
we
sort of
do.
beat it on the...
All right, so this is your next story. I'd
You've
already
got me
brought it
threatening
up.
to bring an environmentalist on the show.
Yeah, no, bring one, bring
Big
it.
Daddy, I know you're watching,
If-
Big Daddy.
look,
This is your
No,
big
no,
break.
I dare you.
Oh,
Yeah,
now they're
if you're,
daring me
if
to
you're
bring an
left of
environmentalist.
center and you want to discuss any of these topics with us, we won't get into a shouting match or anything bad or be mean
Just
to
on
each
the
other.
environmental
We
issues.
just want, look, if you're going to do it, it's got to be funny and it's got to be factual.
He is funny. He is factual.
And it's got to be factual.
Big Daddy's come over to our side as far as the open borders,
Mm-hmm.
as far as standing up to countries that wouldn't let us sell our exports. A lot of things that Trump has successfully accomplished, Big Daddy actually agrees with and defends a lot of what he achieved to his own
Right.
progressives in Summit County.
Okay,
but on environmental issues,
where are we buying stuff? We're buying stuff from China. We're buying
China.
stuff from Russia.
China.
Guess who are the two largest violators
Yes.
of climate?
yes, the most egregious offender.
China and Russia.
And remember, Trump
We're
tried to
buying
warn
it from them.
Trump tried to warn Europe not be dependent on their natural gas. And what did Putin
Absolutely.
just do? He cuts off the gas.
And now Germany's saying
Boom.
they'll be facing shortage of supplies and utilities.
Because they didn't listen to Trump, they still became dependent on the very
That's not funny.
fossil fuels from Russia. Which, by the way, the first thing that Trump did was he killed Putin's pipeline.
Right.
The first thing Biden did was he approved it when he first got in there.
And killed Trump's.
Of course, and killed. Well, but that's a whole nother. I agree with you.
That's a whole nother
Let's
show.
get to the story. Chris has threatened me to bring on, or dared me to bring on an environmentalist. So, Big Daddy, if you're listening,
Challenge
we might
accepted.
we might have you on for a fun, humorous appearance.
Yeah, we'll be
All
nice to you.
Bring the thing down.
How far you want it?
Well, keep going, big boy.
All right.
Keep going. Don't stop.
You're not going to read the
Keep
headline?
going. Well,
She's so pretty.
okay. I thought we saw the headline. Basically, the New York Times columnist admits he was wrong and apologizes.
Okay.
He admits that he was wrong of saying that all Trump supporters are racist, which I always wondered since, my great-grandfather took on the Klan in rural Georgia. My grandparents were all about doing what's right. My parents marched for Dr. King, and I campaigned for Obama. I wondered how we could be racist all this time. So now he's admitting he was wrong. And he goes on to say, the worst line I ever wrote was, if you don't find Donald Trump appalling, you're appalling. Opening salvo became dozens of columns basically denouncing us all as deplorables. So he's admitting that they were wrong about Russian collusion. And I would just say it's a little late now, but thanks for having the integrity, unlike most other people at the New York Times.
Really?
What's his name again?
The guy that
Yeah,
did it,
yeah.
Brett Stevens?
The
guy who
top of
wrote
the
it.
story.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brett Stevens.
The New York Times columnist is apologizing.
Brett Stevens.
Okay, there you go.
New York Times
So I
columnist
do
Brett
want to
Stevens.
thank Brett Stevens because honestly, it's a little late now,
Yeah.
given that they covered up for the laptop
Now-
and 20 other things, but at least he had the integrity to admit it, and that counts for something in my book.
Okay, so we're often in agreement, all three of us, that the left will say anything to stay with their whatever. right?
Narratives?
Their narrative.
Like-
Message.
Okay, so their message.
Like,
and
history?
Do you ever watch when they show like a compilation of bam, 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 they're all saying the exact same thing? That scares me.
All the time.
That scares me.
All the
but
time.
we see that somebody's behind that because that's got to start somewhere.
Because it's the exact same
And-
words and the exact same talking
yeah,
points.
yeah.
I saw that shit on the inside when I was a Democrat,
That-
and I'm like,
that's
wait a minute,
super
this is
scary.
wrong. This
Super
is not
scary.
right.
All right, so now we see people on the left, especially mainstream media, that finally starting to kind of admit stuff like this and starting, CNN is they're taking some shots at Biden these days.
Finally, after
now,
he's been
do
in power
you
for 2
think
years.
that they honestly believe it and they think they're actually doing journalism, or somebody that sits up in the head shed is going, our stock prices are plummeting, our viewership is dying, we need to change the narrative?
No.
Mr.
Biden
Producer's
cannot
recognized.
win the next election.
So they have to crush him
It could
because
be a
they're done.
house plant running on the Republican ticket.
And I often refer
And
to him as
Biden
President
will
Houseplant.
lose in 2024. He
Assuming
cannot
it's an
be
honest
reelected.
election,
Now,
of course.
okay,
So,
so
they're
clarification. when-
They're trying to slow walk us into Biden voluntarily not
Stepping down.
running.
Okay,
So
well,
they
he's
can bring
saying
in
he's going to
another
run.
Democrat.
In
He
fact,
has
his
to
first
say that, though.
Democratic,
Politically, he has to say that
his
right
first Democratic opposition came out of the woodwork Friday.
Who, Bernie?
No, it's some guy I've never heard of him before.
Me?
But I apologize. Here
Not me,
again,
not me.
I'm supposed to be a journalist and I'm not reporting the news. That's why we call it not necessarily.
Now, you're still better than most
Not the
of them
news.
that pretend to be journalists.
But no, he does have his first Democratic opposition. He filed with the DNC to actually go against him in.
I was hoping it was going to be Lowry.
But here's the thing.
Running on a green energy agenda, but no.
Well, he
apparently
can't
not.
go under
No.
Democrat.
I'm being an asshole. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So here's my question: is one, that must mean that we all are in agreement that the next election, and I'll say it, I don't care if the FBI comes to my house tonight.
Well-
Are we going to have an uncorrupted election in 2024? 2022 is going to be kind of a test for this, right? Because 2020 was a shit show.
Well, they got away with everything. And I
Well,
do
you know,
care if the FBI
monkeypox
comes
is-
to my house because I got to catch a flight to visit my parents, but everything you said is
monkeypox.
true.
Monkeypox is coming on strong. Might not be able to go and count or visually approve.
Are you
votes.
saying that the Democrats and the media, the people, that they would use a medical emergency to facilitate massive vote fraud, Mike? I can't believe it. You're damn right they would.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I can't
that
think
was
of
a
that.
perfect case scenario. That was a perfect storm.
But you told me we're not supposed to dwell on these subjects on the air because we might be.
Yeah, and you know, as long as we're making fun of it. And I'm making fun of it, but I know there's a lot of people.
It was hilarious to see all that massive vote fraud.
I know there's a lot of people.
No consequences.
Have you seen, like, you ever
still
watch
laughing
The
about it.
Hill? The new show, The Hill? Okay, the one young lady was tearing apart the 2,000 Mules movie documentary.
Right.
And
Which, by the way, Fox News won't even have Dinesh D'Souza on. One of my friends, his friend was Dinesh D'Souza. He called me the other day, and he said that he still can't get on Fox News.
Right. So you see, I'm saying this crazy stuff, but she was really ripping apart the documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's called 2,000 Mules, and it talks about the election fraud.
It's quite good.
And it is pretty eye-opening, you know, if you believe that stuff.
Yeah, you know, facts.
So they got guys, and look, the Taliban, all right, in Afghanistan and the bad guys, Al Qaeda and stuff like that in Iraq, the way they got paid for planting IEDs was they had to videotape it.
Just
and of
like
course,
the ballot mules.
just like the ballot
Videotaping
mules.
themselves.
And it's when I was watching that, we used to have a program called VEX, and it was a program of learning about what they were doing through their own videos, through your enemy's videos.
Wow.
All right, so I watched.
That's why we watch CNN, to see what the enemy's
watched
doing.
a lot of VEX stuff. All right, that was kind of my thing. All right, so when you see these guys fanning out 20, 30 ballots,
Wow.
and taking a picture of them themselves,
Stealthy.
it's
Stealthy.
evidence so that they could get paid.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. They're not doing it because they're taking their family's ballots.
I'm happy you mentioned it, to be honest.
No, completely nonsense.
Again, I don't want to keep agreeing with you, but I believe
I know,
everything you
today's
said
one of
is
those
true.
weeks. This
Well,
week's
you're right. You're right.
This week's one of those agreement weeks.
Can I think of one thing to tease you about, just so we agree on everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say, to tease you and Mr. Producer, that where fuel efficiency is concerned, sometimes you guys make Trent Lott look like a Greenpeace activist. But other than that, you know, I'm still on your side. I yield to the gentleman.
All right. So my next story is the child actor who starred in Jaws becomes the police chief where it was filmed.
Oh, cool.
That is so cool.
That's fantastic.
And good, look, it's reported in the UK.
I love it.
Was that where that movie was filmed?
How serendipitous.
No, okay,
It
so
was
did you
filmed
ever
in
watch the
Long
movie
Island,
Jaws?
wasn't
No.
thought
You ever
it was
watch?
filmed in Long Island.
You ever watch the? Did you ever watch the movie?
Yeah, with the guy
Okay.
on the boat, he's
All right.
smoking, the big shark goes.
Yeah. Okay. Remember the kid that put the fin in the water?
Sure.
Okay.
No, I don't remember. Go ahead.
You lied.
I don't remember. I don't know.
His name was Jonathan Cyril.
Cyril.
Cyril. S-E-A.
It's the kid in the water.
He was one of the pranksters.
Yes.
Okay. But now, 47 years later, he has been named the police chief in the town of Oaks Bluff on Martha's Vineyard, in the island of Massachusetts, where
Did
most
they
of
shoot
Jaws
it in
was
Martha's Vineyard? Of course they did.
filmed. Yeah, because
How serendipitous.
rich white people.
Of course.
All right. So
Rich white progressives.
I thought that would be interesting. If it doesn't interest you, then,
with their
well,
own gates.
there's other stuff on YouTube.
No,
you
I
can
thought
be
that was
watching right
interesting.
now.
Oh, hey!
So here's a
surprise.
story for you.
Surprise! So I just want to tell our viewers, ¿Qué pasa la raza? ¿Qué pasa la raza? Estados Unidos, amigos muy inteligentes latinos. Tiburón blanco mucho grande, muy inteligente latinos. Gracias a hospitalidad. Vaya con Dios, amigos. Our Latinos, 19% approval rating. That is fantastic.
You don't know how to say 19 in Spanish?
If I stumbled and stuttered, I could think the word for 10.
La 19.
Diez?
What is it?
19.
S-A 9?
19.
19.
I kind of like my little...
How do you say percent?
My little-
Percenta?
I was rhyming, okay, in a foreign language.
think you did great.
I was kind of rhyming with that.
That was like a
Mr. Producer-
Univision rap.
Yes, Tiburón Blanco, go! I'm going to Mexico in a few weeks, actually.
Ajujo Heso, Tum Tum Chini.
Mr. Producer is sharing his Korean knowledge.
Just look at him and go, "Cum sabe da."
Well, I don't want to say that to another man after your motel room revelations about looking at me, but Mr. Producer, I yield to the gentleman. 19% amongst Hispanics, which means that he's actually less popular with Hispanics than he is with gringos. That's amazing. I'm going to be in Mexico in
President
2
Biden's
weeks.
approval rating hit an all-time low of 31%.
But college-educated white people, he still has the highest rating, okay?
So what are you trying to say?
Blue-collar white people, he has the lowest. Hispanics, I'm saying Hispanics and blue-collar white people are smarter than college-educated. That's
killing
what
me.
I'm saying.
That 31%, that's not just his personal all-time low. I think that's the lowest approval rating any president
As
has
any
ever had.
president's ever had, yeah.
That's lower than Nixon before he resigned in
I think.
Are you serious? Oh my God, that's horrible.
Whoops, but yes, it is.
Yeah, don't spill
Jimmy
that.
Carter.
Jesus.
Jimmy Carter.
I never heard a man say that before.
Jimmy Carter did an interview where he said, "I love President Biden because I'm not the worst president anymore."
Wow.
Wow, what's he saying now? Carter's doing this.
Worst economy, worst weakness on national security and foreign policy. He even gave away the Panama Canal under Carter.
I tell you what, yeah.
Dude, we studied this in the Naval War College. The Panamanian government was like, we didn't really want to take it. We just wanted more of the cut. We didn't want to be responsible to run the damn thing.
Right.
And now who runs it? China.
All right, so let's see. We got about 3 more minutes.
Congratulations, 19% amongst Hispanics.
Hey, Michael Paul Gross asks, have you ever met or known anyone that's actually been polled by a national agency? Personally, I haven't.
I have not either, and I've never been polled. Have you?
I have been, but I get so desensitized having been in, quote, that life for so long that I usually tune it out.
Okay. I've often asked that question though, Mike, be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've never known anyone. Now, from what I was told is if you don't have a home phone, you're probably not going to get polled. And I haven't had a home phone number in years and years and years and years.
But
Same here.
Once you've been in that life, as friends have told me who've also been in that life, it's really hard to get out of that life. So I'm just glad that for the most part I'm out of that life.
Right. And I imagine the numbers are skewed. I mean, let's be honest. Why would you do it? Because if you went through all the problem and it turned out to be the opposite thing, you'd be like, oh, wow, we just wasted all that money.
So are we saying if the progressive media has been 31%, it's probably even lower than that?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I would think.
I
If
agree.
the progressive media is saying 31%, it's 24.
It's probably 21, 24.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I'm agreeing with you on everything. We got to get environmentalists on the show in the future.
Gotta
We have
have
something to
something.
disagree about.
Gotta have something.
Make it more
okay, so
exciting.
Newport Folk Festival includes stage powered
I thought
by
you said
bicycles.
pork. I'm like, is this a joke about fat people or appropriations committee?
Look,
I
just
could go to a pork festival. With
I
stage
can
pork.
do all you can eat pork. So I can tell you that I love
Are there any Mexican
barbecue.
places nearby? It's still Taco Tuesday. We're almost done with the show. We can still make dollar tacos.
Here's the part that I'm confused on.
Yes.
All right,
I'm
are
down.
you really gonna go to a festival where you got to pedal a bicycle? I'm not doing that.
I mean,
I don't even like
that's
going to
what-
outside festivals when it's hot. Why
So
would I
look-
go where I got to pedal a bike?
Look, here's what we were saying earlier about green cars and a bunch of other stuff that the progressive left's trying to cram down our throat. My thing is, it has to be no coercion. If someone voluntarily wants to do it, then God bless them.
God bless them.
It's not coercive.
Yeah.
It's not a forced vaccine mandate. It's not a
Right.
forced, anything. If that's what people want to do, let them
apparently
do
they
it.
switched out too. It's not like these 4 or 5 mugs got stuck doing it the whole time.
Honestly-
It's like anytime they got up, there was like a line of people that wanted to jump on there and power the stage.
I haven't gone to concerts since I turned 30 because who wants to sweat profusely with
I
a bunch of
stole a
people
bike.
simultaneously?
Yeah,
But
I stole a bike one time, sold it, and went to a concert. Does that count?
how? I guess. I never thought of you as a thief,
It was
though.
REO Speedway.
Here, I admire your integrity, and you're saying you stole a bicycle.
Oh yeah, I was like 14. I was stoned.
Did you return it?
No, I sold it, and I took the money and bought a ticket to REO Speedway.
So wait, you smoked pot and then you committed a crime and stole something?
Chuh.
Oh my goodness.
Duh.
Dude, with the bicycling, if that's what someone wants to do, then
Yeah, I'll
let
for
them
it, I
enjoy
guess.
You know,
Maggie says maybe they're bored.
Yeah. Maybe the show sucks so bad.
was-
What if you got on it and did like the spin class?
Oh.
Work it!
working all around the clock.
Then it breaks free and you go skeeting across the stage.
The people that I'm friends with that go to concerts, if they're single, you could potentially meet someone attractive.
On the bike?
No, I'm saying that's the only thing. Why would you do that? You can't have a drink. You can't have a smoke. you
No
can't have
woman
a
is
toke,
going to look at
you
me on a
can't-
bike and go,
yeah,
ooh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want some of that.
That bike would have the effect that my Prius had on women. Let me tell you. It's
First thing they're going to say is,
Sahara
wow,
Desert, yeah.
what's the rating on that back tire? 2, where'd the seat go?
It's Death
So,
Valley
yeah,
of dryness
yeah.
in the desert. Okay,
not
moving
good.
Leave it
forward.
alone, Mike. What did that poor little bicycle ever do?
14 years old. That's probably the last time you stole something.
Like, you ever seen the cartoon where the guy's talking to his dog? And he said, the neighbor's complaining that you're chasing people on bicycles. And the dog looks at him and goes, ha, 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 I don't know how to ride a bicycle. All right, last story.
Well, so the last show, let's just say that I probably have a lot more personal experience with the inner workings of D.C. government than your typical deplorable living in rural central Georgia. I won't get into who, what, where, but let's just say I was, having dinner at the home of people that used to rent to the mayor and the city council, and even the shadow Senator Strauss and his legislative director were friends of mine at the time. And so I'm bringing this up to give them a hard time because they know damn well that this is pure anarchy and chaos. If we no longer enforce any consequences on unpaid tickets, parking tickets is bad enough, but to say speeding, I know it sucks to get a speeding ticket and everyone hates it when it happens, but think about it. That's how the police catch the bad guys.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This
Absolutely.
totally undermines the rule of law. It totally undermines law and order. And that's all I had to say. People in D.C., I love you, but you go with this crazy super woke shit and you're going to reap what you sow.
You know what it reminds me of? Atlanta has like $100 million in unpaid like water bills.
Yep.
It's stuff like that I don't understand. Is that if they collected on 50% of that, wouldn't that help their budget? I mean,
You're right.
So stuff like
But this is worse because here they're officially saying there are no consequences if you don't pay your speeding tickets.
Right. So why even?
Why should you ever pay anything? Why
Right.
show up for court?
Absolutely.
They're not going to suspend your license. There's no consequences.
So it pretty much puts a cog
Why
in
not
the
do a
entire
bump
system.
when you're driving down the road? Because if
Use
they
your
pull you
CD
over, there's no
container.
consequences.
The guys who do that kind of stuff are horrible.
Hashtag celebrate cultural suicide.
All right, we got through all of our stories. Look at that, and we're relatively close
You
to
didn't talk about us being in a hotel room again. Oh, too late.
right
Hold on.
or skin tags. So all right, so
Well, take your cup. Where's your cup?
what's your week look like coming up? I know you're doing some traveling.
Well, yeah, I'm going to visit my parents tomorrow. I'm flying out to Colorado. It's my, 47th birthday?
It is 47th birthday. Wow, you're just now getting there.
And I'm driving with my parents. We got a car that gets 55 miles to the gallon, gentlemen. 55 miles to the gallon. I'm going to send you pictures of it on Facebook.
There you go.
55 miles to the gallon.
How much is gas in Colorado?
Probably higher. Probably a dollar more than it is here.
Probably is high.
And that's what the progressives voted for.
I saw
and
it
that's
for
what they get.
$3.69 today.
I'll bet you it's 4 or 5 out in Colorado, Utah. So we're going to drive all the way from Denver Airport through Summit County, all the way to Las Vegas.
Pretty area.
But we're going to see some of the beautiful parks if we can.
yeah,
and
nice
I put them up for 4 nights at Park MGM.
You're a good guy.
Scott, I want you to look into that camera.
Sir.
Look straight into it, like you're staring longingly into someone's eyes.
Oh, my.
Into it.
And say these words. No, Maggie. What do they say?
No, Maggie. What do they say?
Oh, you did that. You did that entirely wrong. Now keep going. And
No, Maggie. What do they say?
She responds.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't know what he was setting me up for. So
I don't either. I don't know
I was
what
kind
I'd
of
say.
an ass about my lack of
Oh yeah,
enthusiasm.
that's the joke.
I don't know what I'm getting into.
think
It's
you're
like
pretty
it's like
gracious
a
for
bad
doing what
blind-
he said
well,
today.
I don't want
thank
you to know what you're getting into.
I never had a man say that before. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Not that
everybody.
you weren't paying
Not
for it.
necessarily.
Crap.
It's a trap.
Well, it's been wonderful having a great hour with you guys. We'll see you
tell
next
what,
Tuesday.
I think we've done a good job. We're time is out. We're done with this, but we covered a lot of stories this week. Now, next week you won't be with us in person, right?
It's up to you guys. We could try the technology, or you could just have someone fill in for me. That's totally fine.
I tell you what, we'll talk about it this week and
We'll
figure
figure it
out how
out.
we're going to do it. Okay, because I don't know if our producer, I just sprung that on him.
Okay.
Did you see that disgusted look on his face like, what the hell
No,
are
I'm
you
happy
guys
not to
doing
have to
now?
worry because I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere in Utah trying to do technology.
Right,
So if
right.
you can get
And-
someone to fill, that's perfect.
I'll see if maybe I can get somebody to fill the block, but you know what? They better be funny. That's all I've got to say.
Well, I'm glad I didn't let you down. We'll show our gratitude to the audience by letting them continue to enjoy the evening they were previously enjoying. See you Tuesday, 7
What did you
o'clock.
say about Maggie? I want to do it now. Damn it.
Why, Maggie?
Why, Maggie? Why? Yeah. You know what I watched this week? I watched the last Batman again. God, that was a good one.
The one with Bane?
Yeah. Oh, I really liked that
Oh,
one.
don't get me started.
There was a nice little twist at the end, not to mention Catwoman.
Speaking of a nice twist, if we end the show now, we can still catch Taco Tuesday. Let's go to a Mexican restaurant. See you
we're-
Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
I almost said the World According to Military Mike,
right.
which is my podcast.
That's
It's
it.
on 7 different things. It's been picked up by another podcast thing. You're not performing anywhere? You're
I
not
don't
doing
brag
anything?
about my private life.
Well, I know, but it was a hotel.
I'm
room
sure
in
we'll have some
Alabama.
performances coming up soon.
So,
No, not you silly rabbit.
We did a do-a-set for a
Time to
vet
go.
this last week. We did a do-a-set for a vet this last week with Chet Powell and Tiffany Rowell, which was really good. Oh, man, she belted out a song by heart. Oh, it was amazing. Looks like we're going to be doing enough do-a-set for vets probably once a month. If you're in the Loganville area on the 26th, we have a free concert with Chris Turner. You can text message me for more information. We got-
August 26th, what time?
7 to 10 here in Loganville. And we have a business expo on the 27th. These all go to supporting a homeless veterans program that I work with. Had a big, long meeting today with Operation Rally Point as their VSO. A lot of new things coming out there. The Valkyrie Initiative is doing great. We hope to be opening up an office this year in Atlanta, so we're spreading out. A lot of good things. Chris, you got anything going on the
That's
Brush
going
Fire
to
Mine?
potentially provide housing to help veterans readjust.
Well, the Valkyrie Initiative is for free alternative medical therapies.
Okay.
Operation Rally Point is with homeless veterans.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Chris, the Brush Fire Mine, Monday through Friday.
Yes, and Brush Fire Mine Monday through Friday, 07:30, and we are getting ready to do a big weekend of shorts, as in shooting short comedy skits.
Okay.
We're gonna shoot somewhere between half a dozen and a dozen of them over a 4-day weekend. There's an Indiegogo campaign running on Facebook and everywhere else, so you can hit the Brush Fire Mine Facebook page or the brushfiremine.com. You can do the Buy Me a Coffee or do the Indiegogo plan to help contribute. Quite simply, we need to raise money for that weekend to feed crew.
Excellent.
Because you can't have a camera crew and not feed them.
Right.
Oh,
And
you
you
can.
sure as hell can't do it for 4 straight days, because I work these boys like rented mules.
Wow.
That's before those
Makes me
freeloading
want to go just to work.
comedians show up for the food. Oh, that's
So,
it. We'll see you
everybody-
Wednesday,
Last time
7
we did
o'clock.
one, I let the boys have about 2.5 to 3 hours of sleep
Wow.
every 18 hours.
We're changing the name of your
For a
house.
week.
Should we put it back on and say goodbye?
Oh, God. Let's put them back
All
on
right,
so
now we
he'll
can
shut
say
up.
goodnight, everybody.
Hey, this has been Not Necessarily Not the News with me, Military Mike, and the Senate comedian, and Chris Lowry from the Brush Fire Mine. Thanks for watching.
Right.
Good
See
night,
ya.
everybody. See ya.